Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Good evening. Welcome to Direct Connection. We begin tonight with a windfall for the state of Maryland. 500,000 coronavirus tests. Governor Hogan made the announcement today, accompanied by his Korean-born wife, Yumi Hogan, who was a participant in the talks with the South Korean government.
This weekend, we took an exponential, game-changing step forward on our large-scale testing initiative. We've been quietly working for a number of weeks on a confidential project called Operation Enduring Friendship. And on Saturday, the First Lady and I stood on the tarmac at BWI Airport to welcome the first ever Korean Air passenger plane, a Boeing 777, which had no passengers, but which was carrying a very important payload of LabGun COVID-19 PCR test kits from a South Korean company called Lab Genomics, which will now give Maryland the capability of performing 500,000 coronavirus tests.
And joining us now is Gregory William Branch. He is the health officer for Baltimore County. Dr. Branch, it's nice to see you again. And I heard from your office that you were pretty excited about the news about these tests.
How are you, Jeff? And thanks for having me. And I am extraordinarily excited about 500,000 tests. Yes, I am.
What does it mean on the ground when everything's ready to roll in Baltimore County? How will this make a difference?
It's going to make a difference because it's very important that we can test people for the disease. We know that this new coronavirus is killing our people. And it's very, very important that we can test people so we can try to move towards eradicating this particular disease.
Your understanding is that these tests are for people with the active disease. These aren't antibody tests. Is that right?
Exactly. So this is going to be the active disease. And so that when somebody is symptomatic, we can test them. At this particular time, we're only testing people who are symptomatic, who are in a high risk group. At this particular time, I'm hoping that we can move on to anyone who is symptomatic and tested.
The idea that a positive test result would be followed by contact tracing. Explain that, and we're not doing a whole lot of that just yet. Is that correct?
Well, that's actually not totally true. We've been doing contact tracing since the institution of this disease process. But what it basically means is that when somebody is diagnosed with the coronavirus, we would then talk to that person and find out everyone else they had contact with 2 days prior to their symptoms starting. We would call those people on the phone and tell them to immediately quarantine themselves. Why is that important? The reason why that is important is because people are spreading the disease even though they have no symptoms. So if there's a person that we know has gotten contact someone who had the disease, if they immediately quarantine themselves, then they are going to not spread that disease or transmit it to someone else. So therefore, by having contact tracking and tracing, we can stop this disease in track.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question for Dr. Branch, you can give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also email your questions. The email address, livequestions@mpt.org. Dr. Branch, we just finished up our first weekend, our first 3 days, really, of the governor's order requiring people to wear face coverings. masks when they're in public places, stores, on public transportation. From your perspective, the importance of that order, and I don't know how much you got out this weekend, but how does it look like people are doing?
Okay, so I will say to you that this is very important. The coronavirus is a new virus, and meaning a new virus, we're learning things every day about the virus. And so one of the things we're learning is that people who have no symptoms can potentially transmit this disease to other people. So it's very important that everyone wears a face covering mask so that even if you're not symptomatic, if you're going to be transmitting or if you're contagious, we can prevent you from transmitting that disease to someone else. I believe that wearing a mask is extraordinarily important. I will tell you, I've been social distancing myself. I'm not too sure exactly what's going on in the grocery stores and outside of this particular time.
Well, I mean, I can report Sunday morning when the Walmart near me opened up at 7 a.m. I was standing there, probably 40, 50 people in line. You'd be happy to know that everybody in line was wearing a mask, and there were all kinds of masks. You saw people with obvious medical type masks, the N95 masks you read about, the homemade masks. From your standpoint, does that really make a difference?
For the average everyday person, it does not. Because as I mentioned to you before, we're just trying to prevent people from contaminating someone else. I will tell you that N95 mask, when properly tested, is an excellent mix for our health workers and our first responders, because then they're not going to get someone else, preventing that disease.
Let's take a phone call. This is Ulysses from Prince George's County. Ulysses, thank you for the phone call. Go ahead.
Oh, at one time, there was anecdotal evidence that people with sickling trait had resistance to malaria, which is a variant of this virus that's presently around. And I wonder if there's been any additional information, empirical evidence that this is true statement. I saw a paper in 2011 that suggested that was empirical evidence. Is this true?
Ulysses, great question. Thank you, sir.
About malaria? Are you talking about COVID-19? If you're talking about COVID-19, then I can tell you there is no evidence in any way, shape, or form that because a person has a sickle cell trait, that they cannot get the COVID-19.
Doctor, I think you have 4 hospitals, general hospitals in Baltimore County. How are they doing? What reports are you getting in terms of occupancy levels? How many people are in intensive care? How many ventilators? That sort of thing.
So what happens is the fact that we do keep a close eye on all of our hospitals. At this particular time, none of our hospitals are aligned to a hospital surge in any way, shape, or form as it relates to corona. So all of our hospitals have the capacity to take additional patients at this particular time, and no one is overrun or having any issues with admitting anyone at this particular time.
Doctor, here's an email question from a viewer. Please give us advice. What are the best practices we should follow immediately at first symptoms of possible coronavirus in order to treat as best possible at home and avoid going to the hospital?
The first thing you should do if you have any symptoms at all is you should automatically quarantine yourself. That means you're home, you should be in a room with a closed door away from the other members of your family. Always remember to continue to wash your hand. You should wear a mask. You can take over-the-counter medications like Tylenol, or you can take a little bit of Motrin if you're not feeling so well. But if you develop other symptoms like shortness of breath, or if you're doing, or if you really feel that you're feeling extraordinarily bad and very weak, then you should call your primary care provider.
Doctor, I've seen video from other countries, Europe, where they're spraying sanitizer liquids on the streets. There was one shot of a plane load. It was like, crop dusting. Do you think there's anything to that? Is it something we ought to consider here?
I think it's always extraordinarily important to be able to disinfect. I think the best way to do the disinfecting is the individual disinfecting. And what I mean by that is we should disinfect our private properties and our homes. All those surfaces in your home, we should write all those things down with the disinfectant and allow the disinfectant to air dry on those surfaces. You should disinfect the doorknobs in your home and any of the other common surfaces that you touch. So that stuff is going to be very, very important to be able to disinfect. If you go to the grocery store, you should wipe the cart down before you touch it. But always remember to wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds with soap and water.
Let's take a phone call from Baltimore County. This is Howard. Howard, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to know when cases are expected to peak in the state of Maryland.
Good question. Thank you, sir.
Howard, that's an excellent question. When cases are going to peak in the state of Maryland? So if you look at different people's model, everyone's model is going to be a little different. So at this particular time, I nor anyone else can tell you exactly when that peak is going to be. However, I think at this particular time, people think it's going to probably be in May and even June. Some people are July.
Doctor, how do you think about the reopening question? I saw today that in the state of Georgia, they're talking about opening up movie theaters maybe next week. I mean, say, here in Maryland, we decided we're going to open up Camden Yards. The Orioles are going to have a homestand. We're going to pack the place 7 nights in a row. What would happen? And what would the lag time be before we saw another surge?
What happens is the fact that if you open up everything too soon, as it relates to the numbers of people who are getting the disease. What you really want to do is you really want to be able to do enough testing. You want to be able to do a lot of contact, looking at the different contacts of people so you can slow the disease process down. Looking at the acute care hospital admissions, very, very important. And also you want to be able to get enough of the PPE, which are personal protective equipment, out to the common people. Once you do all of that, you can then be able to hopefully get more people who are immune to the disease, and thereby you can start to open up and have more people then start to come back outside, and you can decrease your social distancing.
How's your office doing in terms of protective equipment, gloves, masks, to the extent you're interacting with the general public these days? How well protected are your folks?
I think we are very well protected. However, there is not enough personal protective equipment for everyone. Everyone needs it. What I mean by that is the nursing homes need it, group homes need it, the hospitals need it. Everyone needs it. So therefore, we have a shortage on the personal protective equipment. And so the more personal protective equipment we can get, the better.
Phone call from Prince George's County. This is Jim. Jim, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering what the possibility of getting the coronavirus 19 from the U.S. mail. And also I have come up with a thing that I do for washing my hands is if I've been to the bathroom, I flush the toilet and I wash it for the length of the time it takes my toilet tank to stop filling.
Jim, thank you very much. If you have a low flow, well, Never mind. Doctor, your thoughts.
What I would say at this point now is this. What we say, if anybody's opening up mail, if you have gloves, you can use gloves. If you don't, you can always open your mail up and then wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. That's important to do that. And what you do is, if you're touching surfaces that might be contaminated and mail, you do not want to touch that and then touch your face. You want to make sure that you wash your hands with soap and water or use some type of hand sanitizer.
Doctor, a viewer writing in named Jeff, excellent name, wants to know, do we know the percentage of people who are asymptomatic of this virus? And I think I just saw a study over the weekend, maybe Massachusetts, that found a surprisingly large number of people who had antibodies to this, indicating that they'd been infected. They had no idea, but of course they could have been spreading it the whole time. Right.
So remember, I said this is a new disease. So we're learning things every day. But the thought at this particular time is that 80% of the people who have coronavirus are COVID-19 will be asymptomatic.
Back to the phones, Prince George's County. This is Ken. Ken, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Branch, I have the N95 mask. How long can I wear this thing? Can I wear it more than one day?
You just have one of them, right,
your
Ken?
N95 mask,
I've got a few
as
of them.
long as it's not contaminated, it's not dirty, it's not wet, or it's not ripped. You can continue wearing your mask as long as it doesn't, it's not contaminated, dirty, wet, or ripped.
Doctor, within your service area in Baltimore County, do you have any hot spots that you're most worried about at this point?
I am actually worried about the nursing homes that we have. That's everywhere in the state of Maryland. What happens is we know that people who are older, who are at higher risk, who are in hungry living, have a higher risk of being able to get coronavirus, but they have a bad outcome because of coronavirus. And that equals our nursing homes. And so when I look at nursing homes, we're always on the phone with them and talking with them and educating their staff about infection control policies, ensuring that they have enough PPE in their institution, making sure that their medical directors and their doctors and their nurse practitioners are actually evaluating those nursing home residents on a very frequent basis.
Doctor, what are your thoughts about takeout food? We had a caller asking about getting the mail, which I think everybody who goes to the mailbox is thinking about that. But if you order a pizza, I'll tell you something I saw in my neighborhood. This is a week or so ago. Took a walk late at night, garage doors open. There's a pizza box on the floor and a couple, they seem to be very delicately removing the pizza slice by slice. How would you approach something like that?
I think you got to go back to what we've learned in as it relates to eating. You have to wash your hands prior to doing anything. If you're going to touch it out with paper, you can remove all of the items in the bag and wash your hands, and then you have no problem eating the food. You're not going to get the coronavirus by eating different types of delicacies and food. The outward containers that the food comes in, if a person has coronavirus on that outward surface, but you want to wash your hands, soap and water, for at least 20 seconds.
Time for one more phone call from Baltimore County. This is Anthony. Anthony, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask, as I stated earlier, the governor's wife is Korean. They are sending test kits from Korea to test for coronavirus. And I want to know, why aren't these test kits being made in America? Why are we getting it taken? And it's great they sent these test kits to Maryland. Why are we getting them from other countries? Why aren't they being made right here in America?
Anthony, glad you called. Maybe there's somebody in Baltimore County. Doctor?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. I can't tell you why they're not being made in America, but I can tell you that it's extraordinarily important that we get those test kits. Those test kits are going to save lives. I am so appreciative that the governor had foresight to be able to think, to be to go to another country, to be able to get what we need here right in this country. And I always say, behind every strong and successful man is a capable woman who knows exactly what to do. So to the first lady of this state, I'm going to say thumbs up.
Doctor, thanks for that. I have time for one sentence from you. What do you want people around the county and around the state to do over the next week or so?
Over the next week, everybody should remember that they need to continue social distancing. Stay at home. Stay 6 feet from one another. Wear your mask and wash your hands.
Gregory William Branch is the health officer for Baltimore County. Sir, thank you very much. And Direct Connection continues right after this.
Drop your phone and just be in the moment.
You guys ready?
You bring an energy. It's a thrill to see images of a new world for the first time.
Now I want to look back and say, I learned something. That is where transformation happens.
I see people cry on this show, and I'm like, what y'all doing, man?
Out of the water came this giant thing.
That's incredible.
I feel it in my bones.
It's so totally amazing.
They hear that song and they're like, that's my story.
I have chills.
All of the joys, all of the sorrows.
This is where it comes from.
The rest is history.
Our job is the truth.
I'm a journalist.
My destiny is to rule this country.
I will not run away.
Yes, Mom.
It's very exciting.
Lord, I'm getting tired of being so lonely. I've got the fire inside that burns more than it lights.
Sir, are you a gentleman?
How dare he?
I'm a strong woman and I've got my own. I'm in control. I need somebody to
I refuse to be tamed. Kiss me. It's terribly hot, isn't it? No?
Please be mine again.
With students at home and socially distanced, some Montgomery County high school students are volunteering their time to teach others online. Here's MPT's Nancy Yamada.
Joining me is Michael Hu. He's a 16-year-old sophomore from Montgomery Blair High School in Silver Spring. He and his friends, he and one friend actually, they came up with a great idea to help other kids who might be at home wanting to learn more. Michael, tell us about your organization, Kindling Curiosity.
So Kindling Curiosity is an organization that aims at providing free online lectures and question and answer sessions towards students about a variety of subjects such as debate, competitive mathematics, programming, as well as boosting their skills in things like English language arts.
How hard is it to teach some of these things online and through video?
So currently, teaching people normally has already been an interesting experience for me, as well as a lot of my fellow instructors who have been previous teachers. But furthermore, this is just online, so we're just like moving on to a different platform. Any unique scenario that comes up, we'll just try to deal with it on the spot.
How many fellow students have you recruited to your organization, and how do you convince high schoolers to essentially work for free?
So for our instructors, we originally had only two. It was me and my good friend Steven. but then we expanded over to 7 now, because a lot of the people at my high school are really nice, and they're also really motivated and passionate in sharing their skills with younger people. So they believe that this was a really, really good opportunity for them to be able to share it, and they don't think that there's any like monetary gain for them that's required for them to be able to like do this kind-hearted action.
That's wonderful. For now, I know your services are offered in Montgomery County, but you'd like to expand in the future. Tell me, how can people get in touch with you?
So they can send us an email at contact@kindlingcuriosity.org, or they could also ask us for, like, if they know any of one of us personally, they could ask us for a form, and we could send them over a form which has the registration sheet attached.
Michael Hu from Montgomery Blair High School, thanks so much for your time and your service.
Nancy, thank you very much. And for students of all ages, remember MPT's at-home learning initiative. Our daytime schedule has changed. It's segmented in partnership with the public broadcasters in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia region. Get more information at mpt.org. Now for Nancy and all of us here at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.